There are moments in life when everything stops, when the laughter fades, the plans collapse, and the noise that once filled your days disappears into a strange, heavy silence. It feels as if the universe itself has pressed pause, and suddenly you're left alone with your thoughts. This silence, it's not empty. It echoes. It vibrates in your chest like a quiet hum that only your soul can hear. And in that stillness, questions begin to surface. Questions you've avoided for years. Who am I without what I lost? Why did everything fall apart? Why do I feel abandoned by the very light I believed in? You look around, and everything seems unchanged, yet something inside you has shifted. The world looks distant, your prayers feel unanswered, and your heart feels like a room with shattered glass scattered across the floor. This is the moment when the soul begins to crack. But here's the mystery. The breaking is not punishment, it's permission. Permission to finally face yourself, to step beyond who you were and see what was hidden beneath. Every silence in your life has meaning. Every tear carries a message from the divine. Sometimes heaven does not speak because your spirit must learn to listen. And in that silence and in the chaos of your own breathing, a new frequency begins to rise. A faint vibration, almost imperceptible, yet powerful enough to shift the entire direction of your life. This is the beginning, the sacred fracture. The moment the soul breaks so the spirit can awaken. The storm doesn't ask for permission, it comes without warning, tearing through the peace you once called home. At first you try to hold everything together. You hide behind routine, behind strength, behind the smile you wear for others. But deep inside, something begins to tremble. Pain has a way of making you honest. When the walls fall and the sky cracks open, all illusions are washed away. You stand in the downpour of your own emotions, stripped of control, facing every truth you once buried. The weight of loss presses against your chest like thunder that refuses to fade. You replay the past, searching for the moment it all went wrong. The word you didn't say, the prayer that seemed unheard, the faith that felt unanswered. You ask why the light hid when you needed it most. But what you don't realize yet is that the storm was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to cleanse you. Every drop of rain that falls on your life is sacred. Every wave that crashes over you reshapes what was broken. The pain is not your enemy. It's the sculptor carving away what no longer serves your soul. When everything feels too heavy to carry, when your hands tremble and your voice breaks, you are closer to awakening than you think. Because pain softens the heart. It breaks the armor that pride built and lets light seep through the cracks. You see, the soul doesn't awaken through comfort. It awakens through collapse, through the surrender that comes when you realize you can no longer fight the storm. You must feel it. And as you finally stop resisting, you hear something beneath the thunder, a pulse steady and alive, whispering from the depths of your being, I am still here. That whisper is your spirit remembering itself. There is a night that does not belong to clocks. It is not midnight. It is not 2 in the morning. It is the hour when all calendars fail, when the air is still, and even the stars seem to hold their breath. People call it by many names: despair, isolation, emptiness. But the ancient ones had a truer name for it: the dark night of the soul. In this night, the path disappears beneath your feet. The prayers you once knew feel like keys to a door that no longer exists. You speak into the great silence, and it answers with more silence. You walk hallways inside yourself that have no windows, only echoes. And every echo asks the same question: who are you when everything you leaned on is gone? This is not the night of punishment. It is the night of purification. The dark is not cruelty. It is a cocoon, an unlit chapel where your spirit is stripped of everything that isn't truly you. Love of approval, love of certainty, love of control. One by one, they fall away like leaves in winter. What remains is not pretty at first. It is raw, it is honest, it is your soul, unadorned. You try to bargain with the dark. If I think the right thoughts, will it end? If I perform the right rituals, will the door open? But the night will not be managed. It asks for one thing only: surrender. Not the surrender of defeat, but the surrender of becoming. A willingness to be remade by a wisdom deeper than your own. Here, time moves strangely. A minute can feel like a year. A day can pass like a sigh. You will want to rush this. You will want to run back to what is familiar, even if the familiar once hurt you, because at least it was known. But the dark night is an artisan. It takes its time. It sands down the splinters of your ego, softens the hard corners of your fear, and teaches your heart the slow grammar of trust. You are not doing this night wrong because you are afraid. You are not failing this journey because you cry. Tears are the baptism of the unguarded heart. Let them come like rain over a tired field. Let them find the cracks and flow through them, cleaning the places you vowed never to visit again. If you listen carefully in this night, you will notice something new. Not a voice from the sky, not a miracle flashing across your wall, but a quiet companionship inside the silence. A presence that does not argue, does not explain, does not rush. It simply is. When your mind spirals, it waits. When your chest tightens, it breathes with you. When you say, "I cannot do this," it replies without words, "Then let me carry you." This presence is the lamp you cannot see but can feel warming your hands. It is the ground beneath you, steady even when you feel like you're falling. It is the thread that has run through every season of your life, unnoticed, until now you begin to see with a different sight. Not the sight that asks, "When will this end?" but the sight that wonders, "What is being born in me through this?" You notice small mercies. The way dawn blushes even after the blackest night. The way a single kind word from a stranger can hold your whole day together. The way your breath, once frantic, now moves in a slower tide. The dark night does not fix you. It frees you. From the story that your worth depends on outcomes, from the lie that you are alone, from the fear that the light has left you. In truth, the light has only changed rooms. It has moved from the sky to your ribcage. It is learning your shape from the inside. And then something subtle happens. Not a trumpet, not a blaze, not the sudden end of every problem, but a soft widening. The corridor inside you gains a window. The air tastes different, like water after thirst. The silence that once felt heavy now feels holy. You realize the night was not the absence of God. It was the classroom where your spirit learned the language of dawn. When you step forward, the floor is still the same wood, the world still the same world. Bills exist, responsibilities wait. People are still imperfect, and so are you. But you carry a new steadiness, not the brittle strength of control, but the flexible strength of faith, the kind that bows without breaking, the kind that glows without needing to be seen. The dark night does not promise an easier life. It offers a truer one. It gives you back your own heartbeat, clear and unafraid. And with that rhythm rising in your chest, you hear it again. The frequency beneath all frequencies, the quiet hum that never left you. It says, "Walk on." There is a path where there was none. There is a morning already forming behind your mountains. And so you do, one step, then another. Carried by a light you no longer chase because you finally know. It lives within you. Light remembers. Even when clouds hide it, it waits just beyond the edge of your fear. When the darkness begins to soften, you don't notice at first. It starts as a breath, a flicker, the quiet insistence that not everything inside you is broken. You open your eyes one morning and the air feels different. The ache is still there, but so is a strange calm. The pain hasn't vanished. It has transformed. What once felt like fire now feels like warmth. What once felt like emptiness now feels like space. Space for something new. You begin to remember what light feels like. Not the light of a perfect life, but the light that survives imperfection. The kind that shines through cracked walls, through eyes that have known tears. That light is stronger than the one you lost because it was born inside you. You realize now that the storm, the silence, the dark, they were not separate chapters. They were all one story. The divine was not absent. It was whispering through every moment of your breaking. And every time you thought you were falling apart, you were actually being rearranged. This is the memory of light. It lives in your scars, in your breath, in your decision to stand again. It does not need to prove itself. It simply exists, unseen but felt, gentle but eternal. When you close your eyes now, the silence no longer scares you. It feels like home. You've learned that God doesn't always speak in thunder. Sometimes he speaks in stillness, and that stillness is filled with answers your mind could never form. You breathe deeply and notice something miraculous. You're not the same person who entered the darkness. You've become softer but stronger, quieter but clearer. And though you've lost pieces of who you were, you've found the essence of who you are. Light does not need to be seen to be real. It needs only to be remembered. And now you remember. The rebuilding doesn't begin with noise. It begins with a whisper, the simple decision to keep going. No one announces it, no one celebrates it. It happens quietly in the hidden places of your soul. You start to rebuild, not because everything is fixed, but because you've learned that even broken hands can plant seeds. You take small steps, washing the dishes, answering the call, stepping outside and feeling the wind again. These small acts are sacred. They are prayers without words. The world expects transformation to look spectacular, lightning, revelation, fire from the sky. But true transformation is humble. It's learning to breathe through pain, to choose kindness even when your heart trembles, to trust that purpose still exists even when you cannot see it. The rebuilding begins when you stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What now?" You stop chasing what was and start honoring what is. You realize that even in loss, there is life. Life rearranged, life reborn, life unfolding differently than you planned, but beautifully nonetheless. You learn to build with what remains. A new rhythm forms, slow, deliberate, sacred. You make peace with the pieces, understanding that some things were never meant to return. And in that acceptance, strength blooms. Not the kind that boasts, but the kind that endures. There's a gentleness to your movements now. You don't rush what takes time. You don't force what's meant to grow naturally. You build as the sun rises, steady, unhurried, radiant. And one day, without realizing it, you catch your reflection, and you see someone new, not someone untouched by pain, but someone refined by it. Someone who has walked through the storm and now carries the calm within. The rebuilding isn't about returning to who you were. It's about becoming who you were meant to be all along. There comes a day when silence no longer feels empty. It feels alive. You begin to realize that the voice you were waiting to hear was never lost. It was whispering beneath the noise all along. It doesn't speak in words. It speaks in knowing. A calm assurance that flows through your chest when you make peace with the unknown. It tells you where to go, not through commands, but through resonance. When something feels right, it hums. When something is wrong, it grows still. This is the voice within, the sacred echo of the divine that lives in every heartbeat. It doesn't shout over your fear. It waits until you are quiet enough to listen. It doesn't punish or condemn. It guides gently, patiently, like a river finding its way back to the sea. You used to search for signs in the sky, lightning, dreams, miracles. Now you find them in the ordinary, the way the light hits the floor, the timing of a stranger's smile, the warmth that rises when truth passes through your mind. You begin to live in conversation with the universe, and the answers come not as thunder, but as peace. The more you trust this inner voice, the clearer it becomes. It doesn't promise a life without storms. It promises a compass that never fails, even when you can't see the stars. It leads you toward authenticity, the place where your soul stops pretending and starts shining. And as you follow, something miraculous happens. The distance between you and the divine disappears. You realize it was never out there. It was here, in your breath, in your tears, in your persistence to keep going. This voice doesn't change your life overnight. It changes you, and that is how everything else begins to shift. Purpose doesn't arrive with trumpets. It returns quietly after the noise has died down. You begin to sense it in the smallest movements, a call to create, to help, to share, to begin again. It's not about finding a grand mission. It's about discovering meaning in the ordinary. For so long, you searched for direction outside yourself. You chased approval, recognition, certainty. But purpose was never waiting in the distance. It was waiting in your willingness to begin, right here, right now. You see, the divine rarely speaks in grand instructions. It nudges, it whispers, it places a pull in your chest that you can't explain, a pull toward what makes you come alive. Follow that pull, and you will find the path prepared for you. Purpose is not a destination, it's a rhythm. It beats in every act of love, in every word of truth, in every moment you choose compassion over fear. It grows when you stop waiting for certainty and start walking in faith. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to move, even if it's one step, one breath, one act of courage at a time. Each small step is sacred. Each moment of trust sends ripples through eternity. And as you walk, you notice something. Life begins to move with you. Doors open. People cross your path at the right moment. You start to see the unseen hand guiding your every step. Purpose doesn't mean the absence of struggle. It means your struggle finally makes sense. It turns your wounds into wisdom, your waiting into preparation, your failures into fuel. Now, when you wake up, you no longer ask, "What do I need to do?" You ask, "Who can I become today?" And that single question opens 1,000 doors. There is a kind of strength that doesn't fight. It flows. It's the strength that comes when you stop resisting what life is trying to teach you. You once thought surrender meant losing, giving up, or admitting defeat. But now you see it for what it truly is, the highest act of trust. To surrender is to lay down your armor, not because you are weak, but because you no longer need to prove your worth through control. You've seen what happens when you try to force the river. It grows muddy, chaotic, wild. But when you release your grip, the current clears, and you realize it was always carrying you exactly where you were meant to go. Surrender is not passive. It's participation without fear. It's choosing to dance with life instead of wrestling with it. It's looking at uncertainty and saying, "I trust the one who guides me, even when I cannot see the map." When you surrender, peace returns. Not the fragile peace that depends on circumstances, but the unshakable peace that lives beneath them. Storms may still come, but you no longer mistake them for punishment. You know now, they are simply part of the rhythm of growth. In surrender, you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and begin whispering, "What is this teaching me?" And those words unlock the door to wisdom. The more you surrender, the lighter you become. The lighter you become, the higher you rise. Because surrender is not falling, it's ascending. It's the soul's way of remembering that it was never separate from the divine. The world tells you to hold on tighter. Heaven whispers, "Let go," because everything you truly need will stay. And everything that leaves was never meant to define you. So breathe, unclench your hands. The divine cannot fill what you refuse to release. You have walked through the silence. You have endured the storm. You have known the night, and yet here you stand, breathing, shining, alive. This is the rising. It doesn't happen all at once. It happens quietly, in the steady rhythm of your new heartbeat. You wake one day and realize the pain no longer defines you. It refined you. The ashes that once covered your soul have turned to gold. You are no longer afraid of the dark because you've met yourself there. You are no longer afraid of loss because you've learned that nothing real can ever be taken from you. The light inside you has been tested, and it did not fade. It grew stronger, steadier, unbreakable. The rising is not the return to who you were. It's the revelation of who you truly are, a soul forged in fire, tempered by grace and guided by divine wisdom. You've stopped chasing purpose and started embodying it. You've stopped seeking light and started being it. The world begins to mirror your inner transformation. The same streets look different. The same people seem softer. The same sky feels wider. Nothing outside has changed, only the lens through which you see. And through that lens, even pain glows with meaning. You realize now that every fall was a rising in disguise. Every ending was a seed of beginning. Every unanswered prayer was love redirecting your path. This is what awakening feels like. Not perfection, but presence. Not certainty, but peace. You no longer need to explain your faith. You live it. You no longer need to seek miracles. You recognize them in every breath. And as you rise, you understand something sacred. The divine was never distant. It was always within you, waiting for you to remember. You look to the horizon, and the sun greets you like an old friend. You smile, not because everything is perfect, but because you finally are at peace with what is. And now you awaken, not from sleep, but from illusion, not from dreams, but from forgetting who you are. You open your eyes, and the world looks both new and ancient, like a memory returning home. You feel the rhythm of life, not outside you, but within you, pulsing, radiant, infinite. Every breath feels sacred, every sound carries harmony, every face reflects a fragment of the divine. This awakening isn't a destination, it's the continuation of everything you've endured. The silence taught you to listen, the storm taught you to surrender, the darkness taught you to see, and now every lesson becomes light. You walk not as who you were, but as who you've become. A living prayer, a vessel of peace, a melody of divine frequency vibrating through creation. Your presence becomes healing, your words carry weight, your stillness becomes strength. You are no longer searching for the light. You are the light, moving through the world as proof that love survives the fire. When others see you, they see reflection, a mirror of what they too can become. Because awakening is never just for one soul. It is a chain reaction of grace. When one heart remembers its divinity, others begin to stir. When one person forgives, it echoes across generations. When one soul rises, it lifts the world a little higher. And now you understand why it all had to happen, why you broke, why you wept, why you waited. The breaking was not your end, it was your beginning. The waiting was not empty, it was preparation. The silence was not absence, it was tuning. You were being tuned to the frequency of heaven. And now you resonate. The same light that scattered galaxies burns within your chest. The same hand that shaped oceans guides your steps. You are not separate. You never were. You are the bridge between earth and eternity, a living spark of divine consciousness walking through time. So rise gently, walk slowly, speak kindly, and let your life sing. Because this is not just your story. This is the story of every soul that has ever broken, healed, and awakened. You are proof that love never leaves, that faith never fails, and that no night, no matter how endless, can resist the dawn. You have awakened. You are home.